Okay,
And we're live.
we are.
Wow.
Welcome to Awakening Warriors podcast.
Where we talk about life, love, lessons, and learning.
Mm-hmm.
Bam! At both of them. They didn't get to see the earlier cut.
Life, love, lessons,
Did you
and
keep
learning.
that? Did you keep that recording? Dope. You can do like excerpts. Oh, anyways. Cool. So, we already went through everything. We did not have an eventful week. I worked with a buddy of mine, and you just worked your normal stuff. So,
Which, if you don't know, I'm a therapist. I work with kids. I do trauma stuff.
and I do all kinds of stuff. But as of recently, I've been working in remodeling a lot. So, instead of when people ask me what I do or whatever, and I'm doing a lot of construction, I'm just gonna say I'm a remodeler. That makes more sense because construction worker sounds like you work on the road, and I don't. Anyways, so if you guys watched the last episode, you guys know that I mentioned conversating about evolution this week. So, real quick, I don't want to go into a deep thing like this, so we don't have any confusion. We're going to talk about evolution, but I want to real quick go over the attachment of words. So typically, as we grow up, we either are raised or programmed with certain thoughts or feelings and attachments to certain words, or we have experiences that lead those attachments and thoughts thoughts towards those certain words. And evolution is definitely one of those words that have a large audience of attachment, one way or the other, at least. Because if you say, evolution, people think, like the evolution theory, and some people are like, yeah, we came from monkeys, and other people are like, oh, God created us. Evolution is not, is wrong. Blah 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 blah. And what we're discussing, technology, evolution. Here, I'll give you a little thing. Like when you think of technology, most people probably just thought of computers and phones and all this other stuff. But your car's a technology. A fucking hammer's a technology. It's all type of technology. So when you think about evolution, people are usually think about like the evolution theory. So like, oh, we came from monkeys and so on and so forth. And you used to be caveman. And yeah. So what we're talking about is evolution, the actual word, not somebody's attachment to it, right?
Right.
So, and yeah, I just feel like evolution gets a bad rap. Because I like the thought of evolution. Like, I love evolving,
Mm-hmm.
And we actually just kind of conversated or discussed this before, like, okay, so what is evolution? And, so what is evolution to you?
Well,
Don't steal my word.
I'm not going to. That's what I'm going to say. My very first, definition when we were talking was, like, change. Like, to me, it means something is changing. And then you looked it up.
Yeah, and for me, evolution was like evolving. And when I think of evolving, I'm thinking like growing, getting better. That's my thought of evolution. Because I played Pokemon as a kid, so then you'd always evolve and get to the next thing, and I look at people and the evolution of them and their who they become. And so I always had this particular thought, and when I was trying to explain it to her, my thought process, she was getting hung up on the word better.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we looked up the actual definition, they brought up the word advancement. So, to me, they're obviously two different words, but they're very similar, in my opinion. Advancement and better. Like, if you're advancing, you're probably better for your advancement,
Better for the environment that you currently find yourself in. Better suited for that environment.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't want to get too specific in that, but sure.
Well, and that's because I had a hard time with better because I'm like, who says that that's better? Like, that's where and I had an attachment to that word. Um, But I guess the way I just said it, I could get on board with better, because whether you're changing as a human or we're looking at the evolution of cars, like that thing is now a better suit for the world it finds itself in. Like cars now are sleeker and safer and whatever, because that's the world that we're in now.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't have an attachment to that, so if that's how people think about it or whatever, that works. But I was also thinking, in the advancement of life, so like just because you're advancing, and this is to prove your point, doesn't mean you're in a better position, so you might now have 100 million instead of 10 million, but, so like, I guess you could say that that's an advancement, but it doesn't necessarily make it better, because problems, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I said better suited for the environment. So yeah, I mean, but that, I guess, that's not always the case either. So
we digress.
For real.
Evolution, and the word is what we're discussing now. So that's how we originally were thinking about it. And I look at my life, and I look at myself 10 years ago, and I go, wow, I've really evolved. I've become better, and I have advanced. So I think people, I don't know, have don't put enough intention into their evolvement.
Depending on who they are, yeah.
Yeah, well, most societal, Like, obviously, people that are listening to this are different because, they're putting in the work, but, most people don't really listen to this type of stuff and, like, aren't actively seeking betterment or advancement, so then they never evolve, so then, they do the same thing for oh, shit, yeah, I got those notes. I'll just go over them real quick. So, I don't know where it went.
Didn't it start with evolution? Evolution is the truth of life.
Oh, yep, there it is. Evolution is the truth of life. Yes, beautiful. It was the first one. I thought it was a later one, so I was looking. Anyways, evolution is the truth of life. Like, there's no... It's just there. Like, it's wherever you look at it. Yeah, yep. If you look at a tree, it evolves. If you look at what?
That's my example. So we're in springtime, and everything's blooming right now. So I've been specifically paying attention to the tulips in front of our gym. And this morning they were all open, but like a couple days ago, I'm like, oh, only half of them are like starting to open. But like, if you look at like the stages of just a tulip, like that is an evolution. It starts as a seed, and then it eventually ends up as this blooming, beautiful plant.
And there's never a dying. Like, there is to the human ideal and concept, but like, because a lot of people think like, oh, and then it just dies, and it does no longer exist. Everything's energy, and then when it dies per se, now it becomes nutrition for the soil for the flowers next year.
Or
so
the bugs that are like
they're gonna eat it, and when it decays and everything else. So there's it's always evolving to its different stage. But anything, this is what I wrote, right? So take it for what it is. I just write things down as things come to my mind. Maybe you don't believe in evolution because you've never experienced it. You're the same person you were 20 years ago, doing the same shit, hanging out with the same people, thinking the same things. So, yeah.
I think even like thinking just on like a basic like sciencey level kind of, because even if like somebody's not pursuing growth of, and this is what you brought up, but growth of like their mindset and their mind, their literal body has evolved over time. Like you started as this 8-pound thing with like teeny tiny organs, and like now as an adult, like there has been advancement of your body.
Yeah. Yep, the evolution of the human body for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, you can. I don't exactly know, and I don't really necessarily want to discuss it. I just want to, make it clear. I don't exactly know what I would call it. Like, so you have one person, and they go, they evolve into a fit person, or they evolve into a very unhealthy person. I don't know if that's evolution in my mindset. But like, just to me, it's not
Oh.
advancement. So it depends on the category you look at it and stuff. And like I said, I don't necessarily. I just wanted to be clear.
Oh yeah, because I think like advanced just means, and that's where like the better I think comes hard for me, because like advanced just means like the next.
Yeah.
Because like I was thinking about the human body, because it gets to a point where then it starts like decaying, but that's still an advancement. It's still like the next thing. It's not a level up necessarily, because it's not. But you brought it up earlier, like de-evolving kind of, like, is that a thing?
Yeah. I forgot to look it up. Evolving.
But like to me,
Sounds
that
like a
like
word.
growing old and losing weight and losing your teeth or whatever starts to happen, like as you get old, like that's still an advancement into the next phase, the next.
Yeah, potentially.
So
I
like
see what
same
you're
thing
saying.
with like that, I think
Yeah.
that could fit in there.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I'm gathering my thoughts. If you
Mm-hmm.
got anything, run with it.
Um. Well, I think. Oh yeah, this is a good point. Just like the mind, body, soul thing, because you can evolve in those different areas in different ways. Because like I already said, your body is naturally doing that. Like you don't necessarily. But again, the most basic, because you do have to step in and intervene to get to a point where if you are like lifting weights and want to get fit, like that's going to take more effort. But just naturally, your body's still doing its thing. Like
Yeah. So your body, as especially if you think about a child. So, I was just thinking about the lack of thereof. A child can grow and evolve into an adult, or a teen, then an adult, and
mm-hmm.
so on and so forth. But that doesn't necessarily, and that happens automatically.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't necessarily mean their mind is going to evolve to other things. So, like, a lot of people think age has something to do with intelligence, or their thought process. Age has nothing to do with anything. I've read more books probably than my dad, easily. And like, I'm 28 and he's 50 whatever. And not that, and that doesn't mean that I'm more intelligent either,
Right.
honestly. There's
Right.
also experiences and so on and so forth. But books and educational materials will bring about new concepts, ideas, and so forth to your mind, so then it allows you to build and evolve your mind, and also your spirit. Because there's obviously, you have mind, body, spirit, and there's other things like finances and, family and stuff like that. But like,
Right.
mind, body, and spirit are usually your three, you know, your personal, you always have until the day you die.
Your like internal stuff rather than
Yeah, your external stuff. Yeah, yep. I mean, mind, body's not necessarily internal, but I get, yeah, your personal.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
So, yeah, it's so interesting because like, yeah, I won't even go down that road because that's more of an attachment than, uh, than whatever. I was just gonna talk about my dad and his attachment to certain words and stuff. So.
I also want to come back to like the age thing, because like you said, like age doesn't matter essentially, but it also like those people who are older and have been on this earth longer have had longer time to like gather experiences and learn. But like you said too, like that doesn't
Doesn't mean they
automatically
did.
mean exactly. Like there are still many adults who act like children a lot of times, or teenagers, like because they have been here but haven't necessarily been intentional, and
Yeah.
so their like mindset is still.
Yeah, and I think also people that do that are very complicated to work with because they hang their hat on their age, but they don't hang their hat on their experience and the knowledge that they've even took. Like, they're just like, I'm older. Like, for me, age doesn't come respect. Like, your intelligence, or things that you do and stuff like that come with respect. Anybody can get old. Like, it's not fucking hard. You know, just go sit in a corner for the next 30 years and you're good.
This is a side note with the book I'm reading right now. He said, like, getting old isn't the problem. Being old is the struggle or something like that. He's like, anybody, we can all get old. He's like, but being old is the thing.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily excited to get old. I am, but I ain't. Aren't. I am, but I am. Fuck. So I'm super excited in the aspect where I get to grow old and defy society, because typically, when you get old, you get decrepit and everything else, which I know I won't do, right? I'm going to be. I figured I used to say I'd let myself go after 50, but I don't know if I'll do that.
You're still gonna have an evolution of that. Like, that is inevitable. Like, even if you are like the strongest, there is still a point in time when your body will start to like go backward. Even if, like, you're super healthy and.
Yeah, but yeah, to a degree, certain things, yeah, but like it doesn't. I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, but in the point of evolution, I'm saying, like, that's a conversation here. So.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. What else you got? Let's actually dive into the evolution theory real quick. That one is gonna be like a hot topic. Did we come from monkeys?
You should have asked me that earlier. And I said, I don't know what I believe.
Yeah.
But I said most of the time I say no. I generally say no. That's what I said.
Yeah, for sure. I say no, but I don't know if I say no due to an attachment of like how I was programmed or not at this point in my life. So, and that's the crazy thing, because this has to do with evolution. You have to be able to intelligently have a discussion and be open to things in order for your mind to change, right? You can't just be so fixated on what you were taught. Like, it's impossible. It's impossible to grow if you are this is it. This is how it's always been. I'm not willing to whatever. I'm not. No, there's no give. There's no nothing.
Right.
This is it.
Like, not even open to the possibility.
There's your teachability index is trash. So you will never evolve because you're not willing to. So this is where I find it complicated for myself, isn't it? As a person that wants to evolve, I have to know what concepts to be willing that serve me and what concepts that don't serve me. And I have to let go of the ones that don't serve me. So the whole concept of evolution for me at this time in my life, I'll go into a little deeper. I'm not 100% sure where my thought process is going to go as far as evolution. Right now, or my whole life, I've always believed in creation. So I'm not. So creation is basically God said there's someone here, boom, they're there, which is just as likely in my opinion as evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no like. Why can't if one can exist, why can't the other exist? In my opinion, because they're both like off the wall ideas. So I'm also not against God using evolution or the Big Bang Theory or whatever else to do His work. Because it's almost like more intricate and more detailed and put in a lot more effort and everything else. But there's also things of like microevolution. So there's little like things that in our lives that are like signs or hints towards evolution, like the breathing thing, the bones and all that jazz. Like if you lift and whatever, your bones will get stronger and because they have to, or if you breathe through your nose, your nostrils naturally get wider, and there's all kinds of signs and hints towards evolution. So I'm open to the idea of evolution being real, like a real thing, but I have more of a pull towards creation. I don't know if that pull is an attachment that I developed as a child or whatever from what I was taught and everything else, or if it's more of like an intuition, an intelligent thing, an intelligent concept that I am attached to because it is the right thing. You know what I mean? Right thing. So that's where I'm at personally. I don't know. I'm not going to judge either way, you know. So, but that was just giving that an example as a point to being able to evolve, because a lot of people don't know how to evolve. You know, like it's because you do have to leave things behind, right? Like you have to, you know, even you have to leave friends in your past. You can't if you're a drug addict and you want to advance to not being a drug addict, you can't hang out with drug addicts. You have to be willing to leave that stuff in your past and take a step forward, you know, and that can obviously be really challenging. And so can obviously
leaving behind patterns and beliefs.
Yeah, exactly. Leaving behind patterns and beliefs. Those are probably the hardest things, in my opinion, to let go, because you know you can leave somebody else, like a friend or whatever else, which is challenging, yes. But these things are ingrained into your fucking mind. Like you can distance yourself naturally from somebody else, but the patterns and the concepts that you developed as a kid that you want to break are much more challenging to break. So you have to be able to basically have the concept that I just explained of willing to be open to it, but you can't just accept bullshit. You know, you just can't just be like, oh yeah, that's fucking right, and you know, go and you know commit unless you know. And that's why people never grow and adapt and evolve, because they're holding on to this is right, and this is, you know, this is the thing, and if I let go of this, what else will I have to let go of, you know? So we like to be safe. We like to feel safe. That's one of the things Tony Robbins talks about. There's like 5 or 7 things that, you know, every human needs, and safety is one of them.
Even if it's just the perceived safeness.
Yeah, yeah, and even like fight or flight, like the evolution. Do you know why? Because you always talk about fight or flight, and then you know, just stupid rabbits out there, and you were like, that's freeze.
And there's another one, but yeah.
No, there's just fight. As far as I know, there's fight,
Fawn.
flight, or freeze.
There's another one. It's newer. Fawn. It's like a giving in, a yes man, like people pleaser. It's a little bit different because it's, yeah. Just look it up if you're interested, unless you need me to explain more for your example.
Nope, because I'm going with fight, flight, or freeze. Freeze. So if you look at a rabbit, you go fight, or flight, or freeze. So, you know, and I never really acknowledged freeze, but I was listening to an Aubrey Marcus podcast, and he was talking to a Navy SEAL, and he was talking about how the freeze is basically your mind, your subconscious mind, trying to decide which one to do, you know? So that's what freeze is.
I've never heard that, I guess.
Yeah. I was like, oh, damn, that's interesting. Because he's probably right, you know? Like.
But if you look at, like, possums, like, play dead is freeze. They're not, like, deciding. That's, like, their thing.
That's kind of like, I think that's more like flight.
Flight's running away.
Yeah, but that's kind of like him running away. Because if he closes his eyes, he just thinks that you're gone.
Yeah, and his literal, like, his heartbeat slows down, his blood pressure slows down. Like, all of these things happen to, like, if we play dead, this would be safer right now.
I don't know. Either way. The evolution of that. So, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about the evolution of the fight or flight. So, our bodies. So, it used to be, you know, we are good all day, there's no danger, and then we see a tiger. So now we're going to kill the tiger, or are we going to run away from the tiger? And depending on your objective, you know, or maybe I should say a bear or something like that, you know, because you probably don't eat tigers very often. But anyways, see the bear or kill the bear. So depending on your objective of why you're out there, you know, you might attack the bear. But if you're not prepared, and you're like, oh shit, I got nothing to fight against, I'm going to flee the bear. So as time progressed, now we have like traffic and shit like that is constantly like ding, 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 ding. Got it.
Well, and that was the thing. So you're talking about like your stress level, like cortisol. Like when you saw that bear, you had this really high moment, and then you were safe, and then it was dead, and then you were able to like regulate again, and then you didn't have that super high spike until 3 days later when you saw another one. Where now, like you were saying, the ding, 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 those like stresses are constant. They're smaller, but they're everywhere all the time in our systems.
Yeah, you see that person, then you don't like them, and blah blah blah. You see the news, or someone pulls out in front of you, or slams on their brake, or social media, or whatever else. And then your mind, like that is a form of evolution that our brains are having to, advanced
attempt to like accommodate essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So as time progresses, we'll evolve into this thing.
Okay, because that's my question was like, well, do you think then that like in a sense our stress response system hasn't evolved? And that's the thing, right? It's like lagging compared to.
Yeah, because from what we understand, for what I understand, it takes, people say thousands, but, obviously our bodies will get better at advancing, and adapting. So, people would probably say thousands of years or whatever, but it'd probably take us, 100 years or whatever.
A while.
Yeah, a while to advance into this thing. So, even for instance, the dopamine thing. The dopamine with kids, like, dude, I'm addicted to dopamine hits, and if I didn't get so many dopamine hits off my off my phone, then I'd probably do a lot better in life, I'm betting, because then I'd get those dopamine hits off of like work accomplished rather than some bullshit fucking
or some experience you're having.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. But now I'm getting attached to this my brain's now getting attached to this dopamine hit that I'm getting synthetically.
Right, constant little.
Yeah.
So then when something does come in your life, like potentially your response to that is like, meh.
Yeah.
Because like.
Yeah, for sure. And as time, we'll see this shit. Just like people taking all these fucking pills and stuff. It's not going to be good for society at all. Like, it's detrimental that people are taking these fucking pills.
Dude, the other thing.
Can you imagine putting a kid on fucking Adderall at 7 years old and then watching them grow up? And, because I don't know how long Adderall's been around, but not that long. Probably the past 50 years at the most. I wouldn't even bet that long.
They used to just prescribe Coke.
Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking that I was like, dang dude, too, was like thinking about that, like the evolution of like our society in general, and like cell phones even, because like if you think about like where cell phones were 10 years ago compared to where they are now, like how fast that evolution has happened. Yeah. And then again, thinking about like our body and our stress response system and all those things, like that's why I think, in addition to like some mindset stuff, but like why people struggle so much is because our bodies are literally not like adapted to this yet.
Yeah, we have to be able to, be conscious enough to like pull back.
Yeah.
Like if I have kids or if we have kids or whatever, they're not getting a fucking cell phone until they're in sports. And then if depending on their age, it's probably gonna be some bullshit basic cell phone that because I don't want them. Like Steve Jobs doesn't let his fucking kids play on iPads and all that stuff.
When they're growing up, yeah.
Fucking us over. Yeah, so it's jacking up our mind. It's making our mind evolve to how they want it to evolve. A lot of these people know, and this is the conspiracy shit, right? A lot of these people know how the mind works already. So then they're like doing this stuff to basically program your fucking mind, giving you the dopamine hits, putting you in a fight or flight stage. And we can't evolve fast enough at this point in our lives.
So it's wreaking havoc.
Adapt, exactly. So it's wreaking havoc.
Dude, and what's crazy too is we agree to all that. Like, because what popped in my head when you were talking was like advertisements.
We're being fed it.
Was advertisements. So the advertisements have been beefed the F up, like on Facebook and Instagram, whatever. Like you Google something and it shows up over here, which is like very small scale at this point, but clearly we know our phones are listening and all of those things. But like we agree to that. We say yes when we start the like app. Like I agree to all the things and we engage in it all the time. And
I don't know, at this point I think most people would not even like they'd agree either way. But I think originally if these corporations and tech people would have been honest off the bat, people probably would have said no, let's not. If they would have known the outcome of this, because we haven't seen shit yet. This is only literally my dad had a fucking phone in his truck. There was a time in his life that he didn't even have a phone. He'd have to call at a truck stop. My mom, because he's gone for 2 weeks at a time. And then there's a point in his life where he had this little backpack or this little carrier phone where he could plug in and he paid to call and blah blah blah. And now And then he had a flip phone, and then he could flip and call anytime. And now he's got a fucking phone that you can watch movies on and surf the web and send payments here, there, or whatever. And that's all good and fine and dandy because it really helps society in a lot of ways. But but it's also a negative thing because it's like so detrimental to our society.
That's what I was thinking too. Even just like the evolution of like the acceptance of those things. Like it is so perfectly acceptable now to just like give kids these devices at like very, very young ages where like, and that's been an evolution. Like there was a time and place where like TVs were like it for like a while as far as like screened technology.
It's like desensitizing.
Right.
And I don't, this is gonna probably get me a couple, thumbs down, blah blah blah. But like even the evolution of certain what do you call them? Political agendas. You start out here because used to be Democrats and Republicans when I was a kid were very similar, and now they're just like poo poo. Like I'm more conservative than liberal in most of my views. I'm not far left or far right really, but I'm definitely way more right than left. But I'm just thinking about the evolution of certain programs or like the gay agenda and stuff like that. They desensitize you so much, and then you accept this, and then okay, now we accepted that. Let's accept this, and let's accept that. And they get you to the point.
I don't know, it's crazy too because like we could just sit here and talk about like all these examples, but like the evolution, the word in and of itself, and that it just means like an advancement.
Yeah.
Can be talked about in like any realm.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, evolution of our bodies, when we work out, is very obvious and apparent. But these other things, the evolution of, your spirit life or a political agenda, these are things that are per se unseen, to a degree.
Like we talked about earlier, like people don't probably put a ton of emphasis or intention on their own personal ones, like mind, body, soul, but like those are the most important ones to be putting your time and energy into as far as like evolving and advancing.
Yeah. I think people put more, this is going to get people a little irritated, I think. People put more thought and effort and energy into things like the abortion thing or whatever else.
Oh my gosh, like the Johnny Depp trial. Like I saw somebody I'm gonna be cracking up when I see like when this trial turns around and all these people that have their nose and like some business that doesn't even matter are like torn up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. So people are like caught up in all this stuff, whereas if they just shut the fuck up and left everything alone, turn the TV off, turn off your, limit your phone time and shit, and started turning inward and started developing your own self, would be a lot better, because everybody's like, oh, let me control this, let me control that, let me control this. And I fall prey to that too, but not near as much as I used to, because now I'm just like, okay, what can I control? I control me and what goes on with me, and that's going to make me better, which therefore will make the people around me better, whether they like it or not, probably, because they'll either get pushed away, or they'll be like, okay, like, I like what he's got, I like what he's saying, let me get some of that, or one or the other is going to happen, and those people that are going to turn inward are going to see myself turn inward, and they're going to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to join on that bandwagon. So, and then it just spreads and spreads and spreads and spreads. So, but everybody wants to change outside of them and external things, they're always like, oh, let me control this, let me control that, so anyways, turn inward to evolve yourself. Hey, look, 111.
Oh.
Where is it? Where is it? All right, cool. Well, is there any other forms of evolution?
I mean, yeah. That's what I'm saying. We could sit here and talk forever. I was thinking about cats again, like domestication in general is like a process.
Domestication is an evolution of... Yeah, for sure.
Like simple little things like science that keep popping in my head, but like...
It's because it's like a scientific
water, and then it rains, and then it like goes into the whatever, and you know how like, that
Yeah,
whole like
the
water cycle
ecosystem.
process.
It's called the ecosystem.
Not just the water itself, but or that like I don't know,
Yeah.
bodies of water that like formed themselves and eventually like frogs come and birds come and whatever to make the whole thing. So in general, that's why I'm like the advancement of things. We could.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what evolution really comes down to, is the advancement of things. So that's where people, yeah, I always like to look up the definitions of words, not just like how people use them, you know, just like swear words and stuff. It's just so funny, like how those words evolve into, you know, like, oh, faggot. Oh, well, it's a cigarette. So, you know, like, I just called you a cigarette, bro. Calm down. It's okay. You know, like, and people would just be saying faggot left and right, you know, or gay, like it's still in Christmas songs and stuff, you know, like, oh shit, he's overly happy. Like, he used gay, you know, that word, it hurts my ears. Oh, it's so funny. I just find, yeah, I have no attachment to swear words, I guess. You know that.
I do.
And you're being
I don't.
desensitized.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't to very many. Tone is important though too, like, and that's just a whole nother side note. But
Yeah, yep, for sure. Cool. All right. Well.
mission accomplished. Accomplished, hopefully. Yeah, just wanted to have a conversation around evolution and
Yeah, dude. Because
what
I'm
it
trying to
actually
evolve.
means.
I'm trying to evolve every day, like, you know, body, mind, and spirit. Because finances and blah 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 too, you know. But like, I look at some people, like Sean Whalen, for instance. I look, you know, or even the. Have you watched his old videos? Like, hi, I'm Sean Whalen.
Not fully, but I've seen the start.
Like, dude, he's so right. Like, cause he is a very good example, and I don't necessarily agree with everything, and I don't have to, of how he is. But like, he's right on a lot of shit, you know, as far as evolution goes. Because just watching his old videos, just like watching, you know, our first original video compared to, you know, the, you know, video that we're currently on. There's an evolution of, you know, stuff. Like, now we have a computer, and now we have microphones, and now we have lights, and blah 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 blah, right? And then there's an evolution on the side of things, like we're a lot better at how we present the conversation, or, you know, address the audience, or, you know, whatever it is. So, and I don't think we're that good anyways, but
even today it's a little bit rough. So
it was a cluster.
That's why I smiled when you used this one as an example.
Yeah. So, you know, like, there's an evolution to everything. And I forgot what I was just talking about. Oh, Sean Whalen. The videos that he did, I was like, oh, I'm Sean Whalen, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, yeah, no shit, you're Sean Whalen. Way to go. Like, anyway, so it's just entertaining. Just watching him as a human, like, his body evolved, like, everything about his whole life has evolved. You know, he went from this level of finance, he went from this body, he went from this thought process, and to that. Like, if you look at the two dudes, yeah, they're similar as far as their looks, but they're 100% two different individuals. This man has this set of principles, theories, ideas, blah, 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 and this man has, you know, these. And it's just crazy. Another thing that came to me is, like, the person who you have to become. Who do you have to become? Yeah. Ed Milet was the one, I believe, that actually originally brought this up. It might have been Sean, I'm not sure.
I think it was
Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ed Milet, check him out. I highly recommend his impact theory. That's, dude, the impact. It's a video on YouTube.
An interview.
Yeah, it's an interview of Ed Milet and Tom Bilyeu. But he talks about, like, who do you have to become to live in that house? Like, who lives in that house? And he was, like, looking at this $10 million mansion, maybe more, who knows? And he said, you know, who do I have to become to live in that? I was like, damn, like, you know, who do you have to become to date that person? You know,
right? There absolutely has to be an evolution, because clearly you're not that human right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to be the same person that I was, you know, 10 years ago, doing the same shit, dealing with the same problems. Like, I want my problems to become bigger, you know. So, like, the problems that I'm dealing with right now, or the challenges, whatever, I can't get stuck on these. Like, I can't allow these to phase me, you know, because, like, oh, I dumped something on the floor. You know, how big of a deal is that? Is it detrimental or whatever? You know, and then I lost 20 grand in this investment deal, and I want to be able to like look at that like when I spill my cup of milk at the point of like how I look at losing 20 grand. Like, oh, I just lost 20 grand. It's not a big deal. You know, like whatever.
Right.
That's,
right now, you're not that human.
Yeah, I'm not that human. There's an evolution to become that human. Yeah. So, you know, I have to allow these current challenges and problems, and I have to, you know, I have to let them exist, and I have to learn to overcome them in order to be able to, you know, get to that next level, the advancement part. So, I don't know. I look at myself. Boom.
You had a couple of really good moments. But you look at yourself?
Yeah, a lot actually.
Oh, is that what you were going to say?
No. Oh, I look at myself, you know, in comparison, and this is again why we have the fucking show. Like, who we were 10 years ago, like, as radically different to who we are now. You know, normally there would have never, no way I would have done a fucking podcast, you know, 10 years ago. How was it 10 years ago? 18? Yeah, 18. Yeah, dude, I literally just got kicked out of my mom's house and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's just two radically different people. It's crazy. Just see the evolution within 10 years. And at this point, you know, although I don't feel like it because of my type A-ness, my evolution will probably just, like, rapidly increase because I'm going to evolve a lot. Yeah, I'm going to evolve. Just like the phone example, you know.
Right.
Phones 20 years ago are not the same, not even remotely the same.
Well, and they hit a point, too, where, like, all of a sudden it's just like...
Yeah. Crazy.
So dude, that's so cool to think about as a human.
Yeah, it's like the compound effect.
I literally just, like, got kind of smiley thinking about, like, dang, dude, seriously, 10 years ago, like, so different. And then, like, whoa, think about 10 years. But again, like, that time is going to be... Yeah. So we're going to get further in this 10 compared to the 10 behind us.
Yeah. So you start out here, you know, on, like, a graph. And then eventually, like, you know, it compounds, like, because you have, you know, it's just like, you have $10, and now you have $20, and now you have $40, and now you have, you know, 100 and some odd dollars, and so on and so forth. So, like, the evolution will go a lot quicker now that we've made it to this point. That makes me so happy.
It does. It's just really cool to think about. I guess I've never thought about it like that, and it's giving me, like, feel-good feelings. So, it's exciting.
Yeah. So, although, like, life is annoying right now. Like, smooth waters does not make for a skilled sailor. I'm gonna get that on the back of my thing because like currently I have, you know, the man in the arena. You know, so because that's such a good saying. Like some of the things, like the man in the arena, iron sharpens iron as a man sharpens another, and then smooth waters does not make for a skilled sailor.
3 tattoo ideas. Boom, boom,
yeah,
boom.
For sure. So, all right, cool. Well, let's wrap up.
Yep.
I'm not even going to do a recap, so if you need to check it out again,
rewatch you were asking me if I needed to, so I was like, nope. Yeah. Thank you guys for being here. I feel like it was a good conversation. It took us a minute to get our podcast feet under us, but...
Yeah. This was take 2, so.
Yes.
But.
Which I don't think ever done before.
Yeah,
it was just
the first.
real bad.
Yeah, we were just like, fuck it, scrap. We just had so many problems. The computer started or stopped, and yeah, it was a fucking
that was why too.
Fiasco.
Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have, but the computer just stopped.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, does it look like I'm like sitting on a slant right now? It looks like I'm sitting on a slant. I feel like.
It does.
All right, cool. Go check out Instagram, Facebook, and obviously you're watching us on YouTube. Otherwise, you might be catching us on the podcast player, so you can go check out those things and give us a like, share, comment, whatever. If this helps somebody, share it with them. Or if you think it would help somebody, share it with them. So, and if you enjoyed listening to it, comment or, you know, something on there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I feel like there's lots of content, so we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. See you guys. We're out.
See ya.